As always, welcome to the Greater Arlington Chamber of Commerce. I'm Bryan Weatherford. I'll be your host today for this Member Spotlight. Today we'll be featuring a member who's been a long-time member, not just of the Chamber, but of the Arlington business community. He actually went to school here in Arlington. We're going to touch on that and a little bit more with today's guest, Mr. Sam Mahrouq. Sam, welcome to the show. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
So I'm going to back up a little bit. We were chatting off the air, but we have at least one thing in common. We both went to UTA. You went to UTA.
Yes. I went to UTA. I didn't realize I'm 10 years younger than you. So all right.
Well,
but it's I went to UTA, graduated in 91.
mm-hmm.
And what did you say?
I studied business.
Business.
Okay. UTA and graduated 10 years older than you. Well, we just kind of went different trajectories. But the reason I want to touch on UTA, because you, like me, you worked your way through school.
Yes.
How did you do it?
Well, initially when I came to Arlington, I was 18. I was born in Amman, Jordan, and frankly, I went to OSU, Oklahoma State University, initially when I came in, and I always wanted to come to America. It was my dream. So I go there and I see Stillwater, and I'm telling my brother who just graduated, I'm like, that is not America I see on TV. I'm going somewhere where I actually see Dallas, because Dallas was the big show when I was a kid watching all the time. So I actually dragged him to come to here. Arlington was, a lot less expensive to live than Dallas.
Right.
But to me, Arlington was Dallas. And so we moved here in 86. And that's when first year went to junior college, Tarrant County Junior College at the time, because I couldn't afford the tuition and out-state tuition, and it was a lot cheaper at college. Then I came to UTA, and here I am, 34 years later. I'd never moved outside of Arlington or outside.
So when you were at UTA, did you get into the car business at that time?
Well, at the time, my story in the car business was I needed to get a job, and I really wasn't very good at at whatever I did at the time. And it wasn't lack of trying. It just, I tried to be a waiter, never done it, and wasn't great. And tried to be a cashier at a grocery store, and I just, went nuts because it didn't require any intellectual.
No stimulation.
Yeah, all it is just, So I couldn't do that either, and between just trying to figure out what do I want to do, I really had bought my first car off of Division Street, and lo and behold, I found a receipt of the gentleman who sold me the car, his auction receipt. Yet, it's a bad practice for a dealer to have, but good practice for someone who wanted to be motivated into doing something else. So I saw, what did he acquire the car for? How much he sold me for? And I was like, well, maybe I could do that.
Maybe I'll do. Well, you did it in a big way, multiple dealerships, and very, very successful with that. But what I want to get to today, there's a segue here, but it ties in with the automotive business, because now you're the CEO of everything else you do, iKon Industries. Talk to me about iKon, because that is, it's just fascinating because it combines two of your loves, technology and cars.
Cars, yes, exactly. I've always had a note for technology and understood it, and not as a technologist, as an engineer, but as what technology could do to enhance our life and enhance businesses. So I've always enjoyed that and used it quite a bit in advertising and other ways within my business. But as 5 years ago, I had turned 50, and I had, obviously a big dealership, 12 car lots for selling 600-700 cars a month. Had done it, operationally had the infrastructure of management and everything in terms of it could run itself. So from a challenge, again, I always look for the next stimulation, the next thing that I want to conquer or enjoy doing. And I got to think, all right, what's the next stage in my life? Do I want to open other dealerships, or what do I want to do? And I decided, well, I'm 50 years old, got another maybe 10 to 20 years worth of 20, let's just say, of productive and innovative sort of what else I could do to bring to humanity. And I said, I'm going to do what I actually like, which is get into the technology business, which is pretty daring for a car dealer and somebody who did nothing but car.
For some car dealers, but being in the car business these days, you realize the importance of technology and how it can enhance everybody. It can certainly help you out along the way. So specifically, let's talk about iKon. I mean, I'm dying to know, what exactly does it do?
So iKon is in my view, dealerships right now are doing business, with the exception of the internet changing, and that was happening in my own, timeline. Really nothing much changed. Still the same sort of business model where you got to go to the dealer and they, negotiate and buy a car and go. And it's obviously there's some success in terms of Carvana and some other businesses are buying through an app, but the normal dealership does not have, they're not in a position to really utilize an app for their own business, or it doesn't make a business sense. Why? Because if I, as a dealer, anyone can build an app, but if a customer comes into my dealership and I ask him to download our app, there's no reason. Why will they download it? They may download it, but they'll delete it the next day because there's really no, there's only so much real estate on the phone, and unless it's usable. So for me, I wanted to create. How do I create that environment? And it started with, first of all, telematics, which is the devices that are technically in every car right now, not just in the device that we put in our cars, but most cars have a connectivity device that gives a location and even like OnStar, for example,
right,
has that. Ford Pass. All the OEMs right now, literally all of them, have an app with a telematic device.
GPS app.
A GPS, right. Yeah. Telematics is we call it GPS. Really, it's a phone.
Yeah.
Because your phone is a GPS, but it's a connectivity device. Wow. Gives you, with the coordinates, give you the GPS. So we're using it as a GPS, but in reality, it's a gateway to communicate with others.
Okay. Or
give directions or instructions or so on and so forth. So I started using GPSs, to put them in my cars as an asset location. If a customer because we did in-house financing, as you know.
Right, sure.
And if customers obviously decided not to pay us, we want to give every chance to have them catch up. But if they don't, we know through these telematics where the car is to do it. But I saw a lot more benefits to it outside of that. So for my own dealerships, we used it to control the inventory. When you have 10 locations and 2,000 cars, and cars moving everywhere, plus vendors that you send in cars, it's almost impossible to keep track of that inventory without a device like that you can, know where the car's at, to make sure that what you have in the ledger and accounting is in real life exists, if it's connected to a device where you can locate and find it. You can find 90% of them, but 10% is 200 cars. So
still a big chunk in your inventory.
So that's how I started. The second business use for me is I start to put it in every car and use it heavily to understand my inventory, control the inventory. Then you also start to understand the movements of cars with reconditioning. When large number of cars need to go through different stages to get them reconditioned. They're physically, each stage is in a different physical location. So in order for you to know how long will it take you to change the tires, well, there's a bunch of cars in the front of the tire shop, but you don't know which one's been here first versus last versus whatever. Right. But if you start aggregately know an average car needs to be in this location for an X number of time, it creates a little bit of more of an algorithm to know where people need to move this car to the next stage, because if it stays here for a month, it will collectively create a much, my entire group of cars would look like 3 days here instead of they should be here for 3 hours.
Right.
So that's my second usage. Well, these cars can help us in reconditioning and moving cars because of the data that is throwing. And that's where, again, how do I tie it into an app? That's when I started advocating to the industry as a dealer. You guys need to use these devices at large dealerships to help him control the inventory, sell it to the customer as an anti-theft or as an asset recovery device. And with that, create an app where if a customer needs to locate the car, use a dealer app now, or white label it to the dealer, which create a reason for a customer to keep that app.
So have you found, Sam, that it works very well for you to have a dealer talking to a dealer? You're not just some guy that created this thing. You're somebody that, hey, I'm in your business. I understand how important it is. That's got to give you a foot in the door that other people can't get.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's the biggest asset that we have here that's resonating. Most automotive technology companies are created by technologists who are either from Silicon Valley or from some other technology background, that they think they understand the dealership business, but they really don't get it. They don't know the culture and everything, the nuances of that business.
Well, even the terminology and all the abbreviations, all the industries have their own language.
They can understand it to a certain level, but there really is still a culture. There's a much deeper understanding.
Absolutely.
We've got to understand that culture at a much deeper level to know all the ins and outs and the moving parts of that environment. So that's where what's going for us is because we understand it, because I ran dealerships from, selling cars to establishing one dealership to the next to a really very almost complicated car operation that extend to 300 employees and selling and financing, reconditioning, selling, financing 600 cars a month, and keeping a note and collecting on them for the next 3 or 4 years. It's an end-to-end, very extensive business.
So where do you see this going? Have you been well received with the dealerships you talked to?
Yes. When we created this concept, like I said, I bought the technology 5 years ago. It took us a couple of years to really build the apps and the things that I wanted to modify. As we went to market. COVID had hit, so it was a break on the entire operation for a while, and then the second half of of 2020, we dealers started to get back normal to business. They were still cautious, so it wasn't in 2020. Maybe we got 2 or 3 dealers that we attracted. 21, 22 was a big growth for us, and up to the first quarter of which we got the financials up to March. Still don't have April yet. We are at about 20. If you annualize March sales, because March we're 2 million, almost 1.9 2 million in sales that month. If you annualize that, it's a 24 million a year.
Yes.
From a technology company, that's 6 to 8 times the value. So we really have $152+ million in terms of valuation,
right?
Technology company, and we just scratching the surface.
We're just car guys.
We're just car guys.
You're a little more than just car guys.
Yeah, we're just enjoying what we're doing. We're having a ball. Yeah. So I've added in the last 6 months very intelligent group of technologists, people who can see the vision, they understand it. Just people get excited when they see the growth and the acceptance and the model and how it's almost going viral. It's almost doubling every year.
It's got to be exciting too that you're doing all this right here in Arlington, Texas.
I told Michael Jacobson I want to be the first company here that is a made in Arlington company that reaches a unicorn status, which is north of $1 billion evaluation.
Goodness.
I think we'll do it in less than 5 years.
That is so impressive. I mean, it's just another good coup for Arlington, just like you've been ever since you came here. You know, I'm glad you watched that TV show when you were growing up in Georgia. Got you this area, and I'm glad that you skewed a little bit to the west to be here in Arlington. Because speaking of Arlington, you've been a very, very generous and very active member of the Greater Arlington Chamber for pretty much your entire business career here, and obviously you're a very successful man. I would like to think the Chamber has something to do with that, but a man of your status, what's in it for you? Why the Chamber?
You know, absolutely. You learn a lot of what's happening in the city. You know, the trends, the businesses around here, connecting with the community. Michael Jacobson and you guys doing a fabulous job, as opposed to, say, pre-Michael days. 5-7 years ago, when it was, I've always was part of the chamber, but it was almost like because you needed to be, versus now it's it's a joy to be a part of it, because all these activities that you guys constantly involving us in. And we recently took a tour at the General Motors.
You watched all the robots.
I lived here for 35 years now, and I've always wanted to go into the GM plant.
Mm-hmm.
I could never do it, and Chamber of Commerce allowed us to do that. So there is a tremendous amount of business value to know what's happening in the community and to connect with other business leaders, and definitely a lot of business opportunity could come from.
Well, it's always exciting at events to see that you're at the event. You're very generous with your time. You're very generous probably with your money, sponsoring different things and stuff. And it's neat to see the interaction and the respect that other chamber members have for you. They're in a totally different industry. You're just a good guy, and thankful people appreciate you. But now with this whole iKon thing, I mean, working your way towards, I love that unicorn status.
Well, I know. Yeah, I just add. For me, I love the city. It's made me who I am, and I'm thankful to. I feel like it's adopted me. I mean, I feel
Absolutely.
like I've always been part of the community, part of my neighborhood, and cared about the community and the neighborhood in the city of Arlington, and always have to give back to whoever made you who you are. I mean, it's part of my DNA.
Well,
and how I was raised.
Very, very generous of you as always. Generous of your time. I mean, you're a busy man, but to take the time to come in here to the studio with us today so we can shine our member spotlight on you, that means a lot to all of us, but it means a lot to me personally, because I've kind of watched you from afar, and now that I'm part of the chamber, I get to be a little bit closer, and I understand what a lot of people have known for a long time. So thank you for that, and best of luck. Like you need any luck with iKon. It's not luck. It's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. You make it look easy, but it's not. And I wish you all the best, and I hope to soon be able to interview my first ever unicorn business. As you get to where you want to be.
I hope so. I'd love to figure out a way if we can find more talented Arlington technology people, or anyone who is passionate about what they do. I've always employed people who are passionate and about what they do, and
Super.
Usually when someone enjoy what they do, they're good at it.
Sam Mahrouq, everybody. He's been successful in so many things. This is just the latest, greatest. But I have a little bit of hint. It's probably not the last thing you're going to do, so we'll wait to hear more from you. But for today, thanks for being with us.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Hey, always thank you for being with us as well, because as this guy knows, as we all know, together we succeed. We'll catch you next time.